Good afternoon, guys. Obviously, we got a bit of a red market here, but we'll take a look. We'll see what's going on. Um, I guess let's just start with Bitcoin. Had a crash last night, somewhere around 8 o'clock, I think. It was late last night, just before I was about to sign out for the day. Um, Solid move down, kind of across the board for the most part. There are some outliers, and we'll look at those here too. But Bitcoin down ended up settling at about 5%. Um, but the whole move, about 7.5% move down, quickly eaten back up. Obviously, sort of wiped open interest, cleared longs. I'm sure some shorts got paid, but I think the majority of the market was long. So definitely a nice little reset there. Uh, Interesting what's happening now. We have this sort of what tends to happen when you have these wicks like this is they end up getting filled, um, which it seems like it has filled now, along with sort of a sweep of the lows here, which looks to be a nice SFP forming. So I do think this is probably going to bounce. Um, and like we talk about with gaps and inefficiencies and things like that, is they tend to get filled. Now we also have one here from the move down, which depending on your exchange is somewhere around 43K, 42,850 on, I believe, Bitstamp is what this chart is. Um, so chances are we see this get filled to some extent. Whether we keep pushing above that after or we SFP there again, it could be we end up sort of forming a range here. Um, and just ranging and consolidating here for a little bit, especially where we have ETH BTC, um, looking pretty perky. We've been watching this 0.05 level for quite a while. It always seems to be significant in terms of rotations. Um, and I mean, on that move, I think ETH did uh, dump a little more percentage wise, but it also, I mean, it's very similar. It's hard to even draw conclusions about this, but it didn't dump quite as low, right? When it washed out this wick. I mean, if we look at that same SFP, okay, I mean, we went below it by like $1.50. Um, where Bitcoin, was a more dramatic move below, sort of a bigger flush on that SFP, which could tell you that the money is bidding, the big money, whatever, however you want to think about it, that there's more money waiting to bid ETH than there is Bitcoin right now. Which again we could see represented here with ETH BTC's been looking pretty perky on low time frames. So I think potentially ETH outperforms here for a little bit. I would be keeping an eye on this chart just with the ETF going on and sort of the narrative around Bitcoin. I wouldn't want to be caught sidelined if Bitcoin does just take off and leave alts behind for a little bit. Um, so kind of keep an eye on the ETH BTC chart. Look for a breakdown. If it breaks down, um, what I'll be doing is sort of rotating a chunk of my alts and ETH into Bitcoin, to kind of pad that allocation in my portfolio to just try to catch some of the Bitcoin move. Um, and of course, the big question here is, was that the top? Was that not the top? Was this a pullback? Um, I tend to think it wasn't the top, but I mean, happy to be proven wrong, but I'm not really panicking. I'm not, flushing my portfolio into stable coins right now. Um, but with that said, I am more focused on outliers. I want to be in the coins that sort of held up the best during that, and luckily those, for the most part, are the coins that I'm in. Um, Avalanche. Okay, I mean we're trading above where the crash was already on Avalanche, AVAX, right? We crashed here, and price is already back above at 36.50 right now. So AVAX seems to be an outlier. It should be a good sign from the market that AVAX will continue higher as things settle. Beam as well, not quite as strong, but I mean, sort of maintaining structure here, putting in a higher low. It had the flash crash, which went lower, but quickly got eaten back up. It hasn't had to come down and flush. You know, Beam, I think they do have some margin, but it's not really. There's not the same mechanics behind the scenes here, where you have these sweeps and wicks and stuff that's more a result of margin trading. So Beam, again, looks to be a bit of an outlier. And as you know, if you've been watching, and for the guys in the group, Beam's obviously a huge part of my portfolio. So happy to see that outperforming here. I think that similar to AVAX is a good sign that this goes higher. Um, I haven't looked, but I would imagine I know Solana has been doing well. I would think that probably is holding up better than most. Yeah, not bad. I mean, looking at the EMAs, this came down, touched the 200, and is not, at least yet, crossing down with that bear cross. Where if we look at Bitcoin, right, we flushed through the 200, and now we're sort of getting that bear cross going on. I believe ETH is the same. Um, but again, AVAX above its fast moving averages, 200 well below. Um, Beam, same deal, just under the fast moving averages, but still well above the 200. Nothing overly bearish about these EMAs. So those are the type of coins that I would be looking for right now. Luckily, it happens to be that those are the coins I'm in. I've been trying to focus more on what has momentum this cycle instead of sitting and waiting for things. Um, Playing the FA more, buying undervalued and waiting. Just trying to capture more upside out of this cycle and sort of just buy pullbacks on things that have momentum and ride those for shorter trips. Aside from Beam, obviously Beam is long term for me. I've been in that since day one. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else we really need to look at. Like I said, just keep an eye on ETH throughout the week. And obviously, I guess we should probably look at where our invalidation would be if we're buying in here. Um, Strange. What exchange is that? Oh, Coinbase. Okay. Again, more spot volume on Coinbase than margin. Probably why we don't have that sweep here, but we do on Binance. Um, yeah, I mean, I think pretty plain and simple here. If we fall below these wicks and start trading and closing, 30-minute, 1 hour candles down there, that would be your sign that it's probably going to need to go lower to find where it eventually bottoms out for this wave, I guess. Um, and similarly across the board, you can kind of use this as a template of where you can find your invalidation. Yeah. All right, that's probably it. Let me jump in the group, see who's on. We'll chat. Goodbye.